as part of DakshinaChitra's sustainability and environmental sensitivity projects, we are doing a series of interviews with organizations or people who are doing credible work in that area. So, in that regard, today we are going to have a conversation with Sanjeev Pednekar, who is the founder of Prani. It's a pet sanctuary. Basically, they take care of abandoned animals and birds, house them, give them the care they need, and when they're ready to go into wildlife again, they take them back to their original space. And those which can't be again relocated to wildlife, they house them permanently. And they've created a nice business model out of it. So where people come, experience its space, have a sense of digital detox, redefine their relationship with animals, sensitize themselves to that beauty, and hopefully have a change in them which will make them a better person for the rest of their lives. So I was very impressed with the kind of work they do and the change they create and the kind of sensitivity they're trying to build in people.
I always say the story of MK Srinath. We were in seventh grade, and he was the WWF director back in those times. When I met him itself, I think he was in his 70s, if I'm right. And this old man walking in like this, walks into our class. We have something called NI, Newspaper and Education. Every second Saturday, this was a thing which is to happen. And for us, in our timetable, it was a free period. Like, you don't give a damn whoever is coming. It was not a part of the curriculum. So our principal was sweet enough to have this. So somebody used to come in and talk about a random topic. It could be wildlife, it could be small scale industries, it could be sex education. So we used to have all these. So for us, it was a free period. So once this guy walked in, and we were 150 in a class. Can you beat that? So I've never heard something called silence and all those stuff. It was a market all the time. So walked in, and this guy said, I need a volunteer. And of course, me being the shortest in the front, I said, okay, I'll come. And then we walked back all the way to his parking lot, and he had this Maruti car, and he opened the boot of the car, and there was a crocodile sitting there. So he said, can you please pick it up? I said, no way I'm going to pick up a crocodile, sir. You pick that. And he was holding on to two picnic baskets. I said, you pick up the crock. Of course, it was all wrapped. It was a tiny one. So he put the crock on this. He gave me the two picnic baskets. We walked into the class, and man, pin drop silence. I think that like 150 guys, and trust me, in sixth and seventh standard, we were like, you could call us rowdies. Like it was wild. That classroom, broken fans, broken windows every day. That's how it was. And pin drop silence. For me, it was like, whoa, what happened to these guys? So I think that when one animal could enter an environment like that, and it could actually, no teachers could do it, nobody could do it, but this animal, I think that was a game changer for me. And he spoke about how he had rescued it in Hebal Lake. So somebody had kept it in a pet, became too big, broke the aquarium, dumped it in the lake, and the fisherman got it in his net. So after I took his number in eighth, or I think seventh holidays or eighth holidays, I asked one of my mom's friend to drive me there. And she had this hero book. I remember sitting on the hero book, and we weaved through the traffic. We landed up there, and it was pretty early in the morning. And this guy, somebody asked, "You need to buy tickets." I said, "What? I need to buy ticket to enter somebody's house?" I said, "Okay." So it's $10. So we paid 10 rupees. We paid 20 rupees for our tickets. I went in, and this guy was there with all his dhoti, and he was an Iyengar Brahmin, so he had all his thing, and then he gave me something, and I finished it, and then walked in. Suddenly, I see his house is filled with animals. He had crocodiles, he had tortoises, he had bats hanging around, he had pythons, owls, and when I was talking to him, he also had a lion cub. In heart of Bangalore city, he had two lion cubs, Siba and Simba. So they had some kind of an issue from Gir, so they had moved him and moved the lion cubs to him to rehabilitate so he can leave it back. And he was also the WWF director back then, World Wildlife Fund for Bangalore. So this was all happened in his house. So that was, and I started going there every time you have a time, cycle up, pay $10, and then you're in a zoo, private zoo, like, all beautiful place, beautiful place. and it was a hard fight. But the day I quit schooling, and I think that must be, I was physically present till my 10th grade. Um, um, I did it another 2 3 years of extra, but mentally dead. And I think that's when people were like, "What are you going to do if you don't want to go to school?" And it came into a point where I said, "I do not want to go to school. Like, there's no way I want to." So then, of course, my mom went mad, and I went into different aptitude tests and assessment tests, and then took a different kind of learning. So that was a chore. But then finally, I realized that no, I do not want. I would rather pick up skills on animals. That's how I started volunteering. Because if you're staying at home, your mama is going to say, "What are you going to do today?" So I said, "Okay, I need to be out. Now, where would I go when somebody would take me?" In fact, I wrote for Agumbe Rainforest Research Station saying, "I want to come and volunteer." They said, "Yeah, come over." I went there, spent about a month. They just needed somebody who can speak good Kannada because they were just building up the space. They wanted somebody to talk to the locals, get to know them. So I said, "Yeah, I can do that." It was a month, and then there was a person called Gauri Shankar. He said, "Ah, okay, that's good. Well, you're doing a good job." And we had to pay 100 rupees to volunteer there per day. So, okay, we had to pay them 100. So I said, "Okay, you can stay for another month where you can do it free." I said, "Yeah, I would love to." So another month happened. 2007 October this was. Another month happened. Then third month he's like, "Sanjeev, you're doing very good. Why don't you get hired?" I said, "I would love to." So okay, give me your basic details and IDs and stuff. So I gave him my ID. He looked at me. "You're not even 18. You can't be doing this. Get out. I can't be giving you an appointment. You can't even be here in a research station if you're not 18." I was like, "Yikes." So I had to come back, wait for 6 months, and the day I turned 18, went back, and they actually gave me a job. So I think that was cool, and it was also like I was a part of one of the first group of people who were working on tracking king cobras. So it was literally, at school, I mean, at home, people, especially in South in Canada, they say if you don't study, we're going to give you two buffaloes, and you'll have to, be the person who's taking care of the buffaloes. MMA, so it's called in simple terms. And that was my first job too. But it was not buffaloes; it was a king cobra where I had to literally go monitor the king cobra from morning 8 till evening 8 for almost a year. So yeah, overall 1.5 years. So 1 year I did that. Yeah. I think I learned it the hard way. So in my school time, I did volunteer with NGOs which used to work with dogs and stuff like that. So when you see a dog, when you take care of a dog, usually it's a dog you tend to keep it. You try and find a good owner. But immediately when I moved to these wildlife NGOs, the first priority, the first good thing for an animal is that's the right thing because it belongs to the wild. It belongs there. So we might have the love, we might show him the care, we might have that sympathy, but for that animal, we are just humans, and he wants to be or she wants to be completely away from us. So that is the first protocol of any wildlife. And another thing is you should not have any human implantation if you're dealing with wildlife. Because in your introduction you said a lot of wildlife do come to Prani. Yes, we do, but out of 700 animals we have, most of them are domestic and exotic. Wildlife get released back, they go back, and there are other NGOs where we work with, there are other doctors we work with the zoo, we work with the national park. So these things when we're working, they look damn cute. We don't even name them. We don't even touch them. We don't even have eye contact on them because I know that this animal should not like humans or consider as a food. So it's pretty hard, but we have done that the last 10 years. So right now, if so, where I'm sitting, I have a couple of horses. I have some 25 turtles. I have ducks, geese all around me, and these are all I'm very, very attached to. But if there's a wildlife, I know what it needs and what's the right thing. So yeah, that is hard way to learn, but we have learned it. We cannot change the whole curriculum completely right now. But I know schools spend a lot of money. They do have a lot of big playgrounds where I don't know how a school would have 5,000 kids and one playground, and they'll say football. How many kids are you going to engage with for football? With, like, even if it is 5,000 kids you have for football, hockey, you can't engage all of them. So a small portion can be a Prani, where these kids and these schools can actually rescue animals around their surroundings and house them with their same management. So every kid wants to keep an animal. Everybody wants to be interacted with animals. We have evolved with animals. And I think schools should have, I'm not talking have 700 animals, have one such thing which you can connect. Second thing which we do is we do multiple layer modules at school. So we work with kids where they come more than 10 times in their academic year, and we try and cover 30% of their curriculum without using a textbook, without using a blackboard. And it could be as simple as water conservation, it could be something to do with hoofed animals, herbivorous animals, carnivore animals, reptiles, and those are all could be for fifth grade. If I'm getting a veterinarian here, if we work with vets, we train vets, we work with high grade schools, we work with people, we take in mentorship for individuals who wants to learn about animals. So the learning becomes beyond. We have everything here. So if there's an LKG kid coming, it will be more of show and tell, touch and feel, be gentle. How do you? So our language would change. If it is a 10th standard kid coming, buggers, you got to go and figure out, not do your engineering doctors. This is another world altogether. You can get into conservation, you can get into veterinarian, you can actually be an animal handler, you can actually pick up skills on just individual animals to understand what and become an expert there. So we don't have animal handlers. No zookeepers courses are there. So in that way, outdoor wildlife animal, you can connect anything to it. If I get a high energy child, I leave my horse with 400 kilos standing right here and say, okay, you deal with it. So as a person, I'm not communicating with this child at all. Now he knows that how much ever energy he puts for the horse, it's nothing. If I get a very submissive child and we want him to open up, we'll give him an animal like a hamster or a rabbit. So he becomes the leader there. He is actually listening. The animals are. Anyway, I told you, right? I can talk for
Indeed.
the whole long on giving you another 100 examples, but it won't be enough. In three, I know for a fact any kid who's come to Prani would not take a stone and just throw at a dog. I think that's enough. I don't want to go beyond and say, oh, it is converted. We have got some cool stories too. But yeah, I think that is very, very simple. These kids, they're just excited. They have a lot of energy. And when they see an animal, they want to do something. When they can't, that's when it becomes bashing of the cages, touching, poking, and all. But the moment they come in here and I'll be like, okay, all of you guys, what does a donkey do if you go behind a donkey? Oh, they kick. Now you're all going to go and talk to my donkeys and get in and interact to a donkey. So they're already scared. But when I say none of my donkeys actually kick, and when we go, we hug our donkeys and we have got small kids running and hugging the legs and stuff like that, that's when they realize, oh my God, donkeys actually don't kick. So I can actually go pet it. And when they want to run around and stuff like that, I'll give them 5 goats and say, take them grazing. They would go mad. The goats would be faster than them and they'll be trying, ha, who? And that's when they'll actually understand, okay, if there are 5 goats and if there are 5 people, we need to communicate and form like a team. Only then, as a teamwork, we're going to take it grazing and put it back into the enclosure. So, in that way, yeah, these kids go. I had a teacher who said, I have a huge issue, and they were all fifth grades. There was international kids. They're a little complicated to deal with, I would say, and all fifth and sixth standard kids, and they had an issue of groupism in the class. There were hardly 30 kids, and there were 4 groups, and each group didn't interact with each other. So for the teacher, it was like, I don't know what to do here. So they got me and they said, can you do something? I said I would try. So they had a very nice fun session in Prani and stuff, and we had about 50 hens and ducks and geese, and all were supposed to go back into their enclosure. So I said, make 4 groups, and immediately I could see what was the classroom group? They all, oh, pro groups. So teachers had told me, but the kids were not aware that I knew that. So I said, make four groups. So they were like, oh, boom, 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 this is our group, this is our group, this is our group. So then the first thing was, I would say, okay, without talking, I gave four group each individual animal, ducks, 20 ducks to one group, 10 hens. I said, okay, without talking, I want to put it, put it inside, put it in the enclosure. Of course, it's a chaos. They run around. And then I said, okay, just now all of you can talk. Put it inside. Okay. Again, there's a chaos. Okay, you do this. Hey, come here. And then again, I said, in each group, only one of you can talk, and then put it inside. And we did a time check for everything. All the three. When they have a very quiet, they were completely unsuccessful. More than 3 to 4 people. For 4 minutes, they were not able to cater these ducks into their enclosure. When all of them were talking, they did manage, but from that 4 to 5 minutes, it had only become 3 to 2 minutes. But when they decided that they're going to listen to one person, and that could be they could decide on that, they did that job in 30 seconds. So there's one guy watching and said, hey, pharmacy, okay, you go there and you put it inside. So it was very simple. And then I made them all sit and spoke basically something about reflection, thing. Hey, now there are four groups, and if you don't talk to each other, how you can unfold all of these scenarios, right? So things like that, yeah, we do a lot of stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. At the right age, fifth or sixth, just at the teenage, if you give that child, boy or a girl, an animal to take care of, um, as a parent, you might have not been able to teach a lot of things, but that animal would teach. It could be sympathy, it could be responsibility, it could be. Now, when I say that, parents will be like, I'll buy you a puppy, you'll clean the poop. That's not it. It's beyond that. Yeah, you'll do all the dirty work. It's beyond that. It's beyond that. So I think you need to explore more about it. And hey, we have evolved with animals. With there's just you need to build that bridge back. Yeah, that's another thing. And for adults, I would also say, yeah, just be selfish. It's going to help you more than the animals. That's a fact. For the kind of stress you guys are going through, hey, they should be your therapist. You need to like free therapist is right there. Two breads and one bun on a stray dog. You got your therapist for life. It really works.